Welcome to the Millennial Network Podcast. Now your host, Coach Danny Renee.
What's up, y'all? Coach Danny Renee, and this is the Millennial Network Podcast. Today, we have here Epic. Epic is just that, epic. Another millennial out here doing big things, and I'm excited for y'all to hear her story. So, Epic, what makes you so epic? Where did Epic come from?
Epic, what's so funny is that back in the day, we used to have like performances, and I was trying to come up with a name. And I was actually in school, and a professor was asking the answer for a question, and it was the wrong answer, gave the wrong answer, and he was like, epic fail. But I took the word epic out of that because it was still memorable. That moment was still memorable.
He couldn't just say that was wrong, like an epic fail. That's kind of rude.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it was kind of rude, but you know what I'm saying? But I took away from that. It was a memorable moment in my life, and I was looking for a name to perform to. So I took away the epic part of it. And because that's what epic stands for. It stands for memorable, monumental, all of those things, legendary. And I made it an acronym, and it was evoking people's inner creativity. Because a lot of people that surround me, they get inspired by what I do or what I'm trying to do. And so that's what I just want to continue to do, So that's where epic comes from.
Okay. Now, where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas, born and raised. Graduated high school from there, and then I went on to college. I went to Tuskegee University, and I got my degree in architecture. And then I moved out here to Atlanta to get my master's in construction project management. I never moved back, never looked back, never thought second.
Nice.
And I'm still here 12 years later. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we got architecture, and then we got construction project management, all coming from, you said Little Rock? Little Rock, Arkansas?
Little Rock.
Okay, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Little Rock, Arkansas.
So,
yeah.
First of all, like, who just wants to be an architect? Like, my aunt, she's actually an architect. She taught, and she was just really good at drawing. But I remember as a kid, I'm like, what is an architect? Like, what inspires a person to really be an architect? Like, do you go in the building and be like, yo, this is nice, I want to create this? Like, where does that even come from?
You're right. Where does that even come from? And I'm going to tell you, like, when I was growing up, I was artistic as well. Like, I love to draw. Like, you tell me to paint something, draw something, I'm going to sketch it out, I'm going to draw it for you. And I remember before that, I wanted to be like a doctor or a lawyer, but I got into a really, really serious car accident when I was little. And I ended up hating hospitals. I hated everything about it. And my mom was like, you should really look into your artistic ability. And I told her, I'm going to be an artist. And she came back and she was like, artists don't make no money, baby.
Sound like black parents,
Black parents, And so my mom, being the great woman that she is, she wouldn't research things that you could become with the artistic ability. And the architect was one of those. And me being, 10 and 11, I didn't know what an architect was. And she was like, you can still be creative, baby. You can still draw. But you're going to draw buildings. You're going to create structures. You're going to create legendary things that people are going to live in, inhabit, work in, things like that. And I thought that was even more monumental than, drawing on a canvas. So I took that and I ran with it. My mom helped me get like internships when I was in high school. I did like a co-op program where half of the day I went to like school, and then the other half of the day I went and worked for the only Black architecture firm in the state of Arkansas. And I worked for them for like 2 years. And then I started researching HBCUs because I wanted to go to a Black school. And like I'm black, all of that.
And this is in high school that you were working for 2 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in high school. Yeah, so I've been doing this for a long time. A long time. So then like after I worked for them for a couple years, it was time to go to college, and I started researching Black schools. Now that was one thing my mom was opposed. She wasn't with the Black university. But it was just something that was embedded in me, and I wanted to experience that. And, it was nothing like going to HBCU and having that. I'm not a number. It was more like a family feel. And I teach part-time as an adjunct instructor for the university right now.
Which
Yeah,
university?
yeah, yeah. Tuskegee University, my alumni.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
probably like able to do it like remotely or something.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, coming out of this pandemic, a lot of the courses are still remote. So I've gotten the opportunity to teach a couple of courses, and it's been a magnificent experience because it's being able to give back to the same organization and university that gave to me and gave me the continued passion to pursue my dreams of what I'm doing right now.
Amazing. Oh yeah, I should have told you. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't see your face when you go forward. The hat,
Oh,
you
you,
gotta lift it up a little
oh,
bit.
oh,
We want to
oh,
see you.
let
We want to see you.
I
Okay, good, good, good. So that's dope. Like I didn't even know you had this artistic ability. So that really puts it into perspective. And yo, that's powerful. You know, it's crazy. So most people don't know I could draw too. But I'm curious since you said that because me, like mine is like if I look at something and I like if I have a picture here and I look at it, I could probably almost duplicate it. Are you one of those people that's so talented that you don't even need the picture? You could just kind of from the top of your dome.
it depends on what I'm drawing.
Okay.
Now, I ain't never been that great with portraits and things like that, but if it's a Coke can, if
Okay.
it's a table or something that we're just looking at scenery, I can duplicate that. A lot of my inspirations are, especially when I do like design work for structures, it's literal.
Mhm.
Like if I was to design a bowling alley, I would want to make that bowling alley look like pins collapsing, and the whole structure would have some type of literal aspect to it.
Mm.
Um, so that's just another realm of the creativity that I try to tap into when I do my design work.
Okay. You know what? I'm glad you said that because typically I feel like we're taught, maybe even in school, that you have, you know, like the right side of the brain and the left side of the brain. Like some people
Yeah.
are very dominant on one of these sides, right? The
Mhm.
people that is in the middle, I feel like is sometimes have the biggest challenges because you have your artistic side colliding with your literal logical structure side, and it's just like which one is gonna win, and most people don't understand that. So considering you're an architect, and then like you even just said you got the what you say, like the literal side, like how do you put those two? Because I'm pretty sure with a project management background you're working with both sides of the brain.
Oh yeah, because with the project management side is you got to be literal.
Okay.
We have to think about schedules. We got to think about budgeting. We got to think about, yeah, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful structure that you artistically designed, but how are we literally going to make this? What is the cost of this? Is
Mm-hmm.
this really in budget? And can we do this within this given schedule and time period? So for me, I think that what kind of, like you said, it makes me different is that I have a balance of both of those aspects. Like, I love the creative side. Like if you're telling me I my favorite flower is a dandelion and I want, some remnants of this in the structure. I'm gonna take an aspect of that. But let's be literal here. I can't just have, a floor floating in the air that's not connected to anything, even
Okay.
though that's a remnants of this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so there has to be a balance, and a lot of people don't have that balance, and that's one thing that I think that makes me different from other people. But I really try to get in tune with that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what makes me special, I think. So
Mm. You know what? I'm
yeah.
glad you just explained that because when it comes to like I'm not even gonna say sports. Sports is a little different, but when it comes to like the
Hmm.
music industry, for instance, a lot of people
Hmm.
they can sing, they're talented, but we watch
Hmm.
all these movies and we're always looking at that one hit wonder, and we're just like, man, this person was talented. Like, what happened to this person? And then the reality is because they know art, but they don't know business. They don't know the literal, part of everything. And a friend of mine, he's amazing at
Hmm.
directing music videos. But there's been what 2 3 times that his all his we talking about like 10 plus thousands of dollars worth of equipment was just
Mm.
stolen. But because he didn't
Mm.
understand the business, he understand business to an extent because he booking these people and doing it all by himself. But like the legal, you know, you got to protect your assets because this is how your business, and you know, like certain things like that he didn't get. And I still feel like it takes a lot longer to get that because a lot of people feel like, oh, I could do this, you know, but not knowing that
Yeah.
doing this, it comes a whole another part, you know.
Yes. I totally agree. I think that especially in this era of social media,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people own business, but
Right.
they are not business women and they're not business men. And to totally agree with you, there are different aspects of it. You can do hair great. You can be the best hairstylist ever. But if you don't know how to organize your bookings, if you don't know how to pay your taxes, if you don't know that I can't take every job that's offered to me, no matter all money's not good money, if you don't establish those type of things, then it doesn't matter how good of a hairstylist you are because everybody's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, girl, I booked her, but she didn't return my call. Oh yeah, girl, I booked her and she overcharged me." And those are the things that I think that especially us as a community have to embrace because we are a talented culture. We are
Mm-hmm.
talented people, but we don't embrace the part of understanding how to run a business.
Exactly.
And I think that, everybody's on this whole entrepreneur tip, but you have to have the education to go behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can have the business, but you don't have the education to go behind it. You're running a multi-million-dollar business, but you don't know how to balance your checking account.
Right.
That's a problem. That's
Whew.
a problem right there.
I'm like,
I,
ooh,
you know
that's
what I'm
true.
saying? You know what I'm saying? Or you think that it's more important for you to go buy this designer bag versus buying this new hair dryer that you need. And like I said, I'm just keeping it real simple, but it's a lot of different things that we have to take into effect when we're talking about running these businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and we lack as a community. And I think that we need to do a lot better. It doesn't matter your following.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get some education and some knowledge behind what we're trying to do. That's what I
Right.
think.
I feel
Yeah.
that, and it's funny you use the hairstylist as an example because, whew, I've been rebelling against my hairstylist right now because I'm like, man, she went up on the price, and now I gotta pay all of this before, like, I gotta pay all of this when I book, like it's 100% up front, and she's not doing adding this service anymore, and I've been checking her website to see if it's changed, but you know what?
Hmm.
It hasn't. She's staying firm on what her. I mean, granted, she has years of experience and she has a shop now, but she's staying firm on her expectations. And I feel like
Hmm.
one of the lessons that new entrepreneurs take so long to learn is what you just said. It's like, for instance, a hairstylist. You got to know who's going to be a client and who's not. You can't accept every client. Your time is
Hmm.
valuable, and most people when they first get into sales, and when they first become an entrepreneur, they're trying to take everybody because they're trying to eat, which is why I love this podcast because it's okay to have a
Hmm.
job while figuring out your business because it's
Hmm.
the best lessons is going to come by doing it, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
she's staying firm, and then the thing is she has her schedule. So if you're an entrepreneur out here and you're
Hmm.
listening, it's okay to have a schedule. If somebody can't make
Oh
their
yes.
schedule, it's okay here and there to be like, okay, I may have a little bit of flexibility, but your schedule is your schedule. You need that schedule for your
Yeah.
peace of mind.
Yeah.
So going
Yeah.
into front, so let's say going into schedule, right? You do work this
Hmm.
9 to 5. You know, it's
Yeah.
a high
Yeah.
demand field. You're probably going into businesses with a lot of top management. You know, I'm pretty sure it's demanding, right? It may be demanding on the
Hmm.
time. Now you have your business. So tell me more about your business and how are you managing the two?
Okay, so it's a balance again. When you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to figure out how to juggle until you're ready to make that leap into
Mm-hmm.
full entrepreneurship. And I tell people all the time, just because you see whoever guru out here doing whatever they're doing, or you seeing the best chef out here doing whatever they're doing, you got to understand that that may not be what you need to be doing right now, and you have to figure out what works for you. And so what works for me right now is like, I like the security. I like the security of having a consistent, paycheck. I love the consistency of having a 401k, health insurance, things like that. Not wondering if I got a client this week, if I don't have a client that the next week. And I think that that's what, when we're portraying all this stuff on social media, we're just showing the glamorous life of what entrepreneurship can give you. And it can give you all of that. But you're missing some things of, you're not showing me the week when your client that said that they was about to spend $1,000, they didn't spend that. They didn't even show up. They didn't even call you. And those things. And I
Drove
think that
hours away. Somebody ghosted you. You spent money that, yeah.
you're calling them, they're not answering the phone. They said they're ready to pull the trigger. They didn't sign the contract, and they're not fulfilling that on their end. You know what I'm saying? And then for you to even, debate that contract, you got to hire a lawyer now. Now you got to spend. We miss those things on social media. We miss those things that are publicized. And so, what I felt worked best for me and how I balance it is that, like I said, I like the security. So if that means to fulfill a client's contracts and needs, I got to wake up at 6 o'clock and work from 6 to 8 before I start my 9 to 5, then that's what I do. And then after 5 o'clock, if I got to work from 5 to 12 at night, that's what I do. But you got to have that commitment. You got to have that grind. You got to have that ambition, because it takes a lot, because it has its good days and it's got its bad days. And that's just being honest with you right now. I'm building homes back home. Build the block back. That's the project that I'm working on right now, where I'm going around and I'm purchasing vacant lots in the urban community, and I'm building brand new construction homes and duplexes for the community. And when I say for the community, I'm saying I'm not finna price those homes at $400,000 or $300,000 when I know at a reasonable price they could be 200, 250. You know, it's not gentrification. And the reason I'm doing that too is because I feel like we don't see the value in our own neighborhoods and our own community until somebody else does it.
Wow.
And then when we drive past, oh, that's nice. Oh,
That's so
nice.
true.
That sure look nice. Oh my God, they didn't put these apartments over here. And they're charging you $1,500, $1,600, $1,700. But when I'm sitting here and I'm telling you, I can give you that same quality of home, I can give you that same quality. You don't, oh, it's a bad neighborhood. Oh, I don't know about this. But you allow someone else to come in and do the same thing. And then when they do it, it's nice. And we got to let go of that mindset. It's just a slew upon things that,
Right.
can be evaluated in the same conversation.
And
But
I want to
like I said, I
throw
just
this
think it takes
part
balance.
in there too, because you said we don't see value in our community until someone else does. So that's a whole quote right there, right? But even more so in our community, black community, is that the crazy part about it is when they do see this value, what do? They push us out. We're the only ones that can't push these criminals and drug dealers out in our own community.
You want
But
to hear
when they
something that's,
come and build buildings, they gone. Never
I'm going
even
to tell you
registered that.
something. No. And when I have this conversation with people, it's like almost an epiphany, but it's the truth. I remember when my mom purchased her first home when I think I was like 9 years old, and it was in the downtown area. It was on the up and up, it was on the verge of gentrification.
Okay.
Mind you, that was over 25 years ago. But there used to be crackheads walking up and down the street. They'll come in, they'll steal your plants, do dumb stuff. But when they start moving in, slowly but surely, they walk to the other side of the street. They're not bothering anymore. They slowly pushing you out. It's like we have that mentality of,
Ooh.
yes, so we not coming over there no
Yeah.
more. We that, ooh, that sure look nice. We ain't gonna bother them
Yo.
people no more. But we'll bother each other. We'll devalue our own community. And it's
Man.
like, and I hate to call it this, but it's a slave mentality. It's a slave mentality, is that we don't ever see the value in ourselves. And I know this is way off topic,
Nah, we
but
good. We good.
we we miss the focal point of, if we found the value in our own community, and we realize that our brother is still trying to just uplift our same community, our sister is trying to uplift the same community, but when someone from the outside does that, we look and have a completely different perspective. And we have to stop doing that if we ever want to become the wealth that we're trying to perceive on these social medias and stuff. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Stop chasing their wealth. Stop chasing their wealth. Create your own. Stop trying to sit at their table. Create your own table. And we miss that sometimes. We miss that all the time, most likely. But that's really what I'm trying to do with Young Successful Dreamers,
Mm-hmm.
because YSD Design, that's what it stands for. It stands for Young Successful Dreamers. And my mom told me, she said, why you call it Young Successful? You ain't going to be young forever. I said, but my goal is to captivate the mind of another young person and
Mm-hmm.
make them a successful dreamer the way that I'm dreaming of the same thing. And we just keep motivating each other, and we break that generational curse that we have on our whole culture, you
Mm.
know? And I know that's a lot. My bad.
No, no, that's what you. That's what the podcast is here for. We want to hear this because I mean that was some good stuff and it was true. So you mentioned that you're kind of more so like build these duplexes and houses and quads or whatever, and you're gonna charge below market. So I'm curious, how are you going to be able to? And I don't know if this is a secret, you're giving a secret or whatever, but how are you able to do that, knowing that even still in the market, you still got materials prices going up, you got
Mhm,
labor prices going up,
mhm.
but yet you're building a house under value according to the market. Like, how are you going to spend that? Do you bring in government assistance, government programs, or you're literally building a house and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna charge this"?
Okay, that's like a twofold question. But to answer it, I want you to think about this. And this is just real simple. I want you to think about Jordans. Think about Nike, right?
Okay.
When you think about Jordan, you think about Nike. The retail value of that shoe is usually $100 or more, right?
Mhm.
But to make that shoe, it's $16, right? It's $16 to make that shoe. When it shipped over here to America, it's 100 plus. And then when resellers get their hands on it, it's $300 per plus, right? That's the same way that the government tries to fool our minds. Is that it? There's no difference in, the price to build these houses. It's a zip code that they're charging us for. That's it. It's it's not that I'm building a house under market. And I mean, that is a secret. And when you hire someone to build your house, because you chose to build it in Buckhead versus you chose to build it in the South Side, they're gonna charge you different prices.
Mhm.
But that don't mean that Home Depot charged them any more or any less to build that house.
Got you.
But they're gonna charge you more because of your zip code. And we choose to do that. And as consumers, we choose to accept that.
Mhm.
It's just the cycling effect of, the public. We accept that. There's no reason when you break it down. Why should you pay more for they say quality, right? They say quality, but at the end of the day, you're gonna wear that shoe the same way that you will wear a Walmart shoe. But oh, this got a little bit better leather. This got, and of course those things cost more, cost less, and you can upcharge for those type of things. But far as your wood, far as your bricks, far as your roofing material, there shouldn't be a different price because I choose to build here versus I choose to build there.
Gotcha. I get
Why?
what you're saying.
When you
So you would have the
when you
difference between the land in this case, because
yeah,
still, even in urban communities, maybe the land is going to be cheaper than these other areas as well, which is why you feel
right
like that you would
now,
have it.
but this is what you got to think. You got to think right now it's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Think about Atlanta as a whole. Right
Crazy.
now, you could get land in Bankhead. The what is federal? Yesterday's prices is not today's prices.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Who allows someone to just come in and just say, you know what, the market's gonna? It's changed. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna put my brand new house right here, and I'm gonna change it. And everybody else now that builds around me, that's how the market value has went up. What? Now if grandma has a house next to $1 million house, Her $25,000 house is now valued at $250,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what is that? That's great for grandma that her house is valued for more. But think about it like this: now the taxes have went up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is grandma gonna pay? At first, she was paying $57 a year. Now she's got to pay $5,700 a year
Gotcha.
because Peter then moved in and built $1 million house right here. I done
Yeah.
built, apartment complexes. So it's just, I choose not to gaffle my people.
Gotcha. Well,
And
let me ask this.
unfortunately,
I'm sorry. Like to add to that. So, are you saying like where you're gonna build? Are these properties going to be more than 200? Like for instance, you were using an example. You would charge 200,000, right? So where you're
mhm,
building, are the properties already like above 200,000, or they are still like lower? They're still lower than 200, but you're
yeah,
able to do 200
this,
versus higher.
yeah. So I'm gonna give you an example. So just a blank canvas, right? If you go into an urban community right now
Mm-hmm.
and you have three properties, you got three properties. One is a bando, which is valued at $10,000, right?
Okay.
Then you got Madeir living here, and that property is valued at maybe $50,000, right? And so there's an empty lot right here. And if I come in and build, I'm gonna put it at $180,000 because it's a brand new build. It's a brand new construction. But if Peter come in, he's gonna come in and build it at three hundred
Oh,
thousand
okay. I get
dollars.
what you're saying. So you're saying that the markup
You
is
see what I'm
not
saying?
as high.
The
Got it.
markup is not as high, but there's no way I can in this market. There's no way I can build a mud deer house for $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
There's no possible way. But you also got to understand that her house has not been renovated. She needs a new roof. She needs paint. She needs a new floor. All of that.
Money
But
on the mattress.
at the end, yeah. But this is what you got to understand is that the builders in this market right now don't care about $180,000 house or 200. They're going for $350,000,
Mm-hmm.
which is astronomical. That's ridiculous because it's not costing you any more to build this house than it's costing me to build this house. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Gotcha. Okay.
But to each his own. If some people are money hungry, me, I'm trying to help our community, but when I do it, unfortunately, it's like we not seeing the vision. But when Peter, you know, Sam come in, they're like, shoot, this is a good deal.
I
So,
get it. Okay.
you
Okay. So
know,
thanks for explaining that. So where does, because I'm pretty sure a lot of it, your architecture and project management come. What, before I even ask that question, I think before getting into the question and the answer, this is a benefit, like what you with your businesses is a benefit on why when people don't know what they want to do as an entrepreneur, what they're already doing as an employee, there's plenty of business opportunities just in that. Some people are just super duper 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 organized. Business opportunity.
hmm
You know, if you're working in an office, and a lot of people don't. I remember somebody said that when you have a job, your job, yeah, you're getting paid, but it's an apprenticeship. That apprenticeship could be the fact that you're going into business with what you're doing and you're going to compete against what you do, or some version of that. You may see some loopholes and weaknesses in that, and you can create a business off of that. So going into my question now, where does your
hmm
architecture and project management skills come into play of your business YSD Designs?
it's everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything, and that's the beauty of it. I have my friends, and they tell me like sometimes they're like, I'm kind of jealous that you actually get to do what you love to do. Like I love this, the fact that I can take that creativity and sketch something out on a sheet of paper and say that we're gonna build this. This is design. Like literally take something out of my head, and someone's gonna live in it or someone's going to work in that. Um, so my 9 to 5, I do more so commercial. I work with commercial structures, everything from military facilities, hospitals to educational facilities.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do my business, I take those same skills and I put them into the residential part of my business because I do residential for my business. And I take those same skills, uh, those same creative thoughts, and I put them into the design aspect. When I design a building, it's like, I'm more, when I do design, I do more modern designs. I love modern architecture. Like that I love the clean, the crisp, the clean organization, like all of that. That's what I love to do. So I take elements of that from my 9 to 5 and I put it into, my personal work.
Mm-hmm.
And then the project management part of it, that's definitely organization skills because you got to know, hey, we got this much money and we need to make this much money work for this phase of the project. And we need to do it on budget. We need to do it within this given schedule. So that's my project management skills coming into my
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship. And so I'm fortunate and I'm so blessed that both of my career paths, my professional 9 to 5 and my entrepreneurship, they work hand in hand, but they don't conflict because, like I said, I do commercial for my 9 to 5 and I do residential for my business.
Gotcha. Now I remember you mentioning
Yeah.
like your hours. You will find what hours work for you. If you had a kid or two, do you feel like you would still be able to balance both? Just kind of like for the listeners out here.
Um,
I mean, I know you don't really
yeah.
know because
So
you gotta have kids to really know.
I
But
mean,
I'm just
you really
saying.
gotta have a kid to know, but I will say that I am blessed enough to work remotely,
Mm-hmm.
and I would hope that whenever I choose to have a child, that I would have a partner who could understand that balance and that we could, work together to create some type of schedule that works for the both of us. That's like one of my things. I always tell people, I was like, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm gonna die. What's the point of being rich? I having all these legendary houses and say, yeah, I built that, and I can't tell my kids that I built that or I did that. So I think that when that day comes, it's like you really have to take into effect of making sure that you got a partner who understands what you're trying to do and what you're trying to build. Entrepreneurship, it doesn't really just take a partner; it takes an assistant because your partner gonna be your assistant. My partner has been with me on job sites, helping me take measurements, helping me, sketch out, designs for my clients and stuff. And it just really takes, dealing with the correct and right person to know what you're trying to build to, raise a family, that you're not just doing it for you, you're doing it for, you know, the structure of your family and trying to create a legacy.
Awesome. Okay. And then let me ask you this. So, what do you feel is maybe this? I wouldn't even say the similarities. Well, yeah, maybe similarities or differences between project management and entrepreneurship.
I think they could honestly run like one and the same. Like I said, I have my master's in project management,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the biggest things is organization. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that you truly have to be organized to be an entrepreneur. Uh, all of my updates are coming up on my computer. But you truly have to be organized to be an entrepreneur because when you think that, oh, I just got to worry about this today, something else will hit you. And that's part of management. When you're a manager of anything or anyone or any company, whatever you decide to do, you have to manage multiple tasks at one time. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about. Because going back to what I said before, you can't just know how to do hair good. You can do hair good, but if you can't also manage the paperwork, you can't also manage the money, the business aspect, the scheduling, all of that, you're not fit to be an entrepreneur. And another thing that I think that this generation gets vastly confused is that there's a difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur. It's two different things. Okay. So if you're uh, self-employed, you can be a barber, you know, you can do lashes, you can do whatever, you can be an esthetician. But the thing about that is those things and a lot of those things only function if you can go to work.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't go to work, you don't get paid. That's being self-employed. You got to go cut that hair. You got to stand up on your feet all day. Being an entrepreneur is managing a business in its entirety. That means even when you're sick, Even if you got COVID, even if you done broke your arm, even if you want to take a vacation, guess what? Your business is continuously flourishing with you being there or not being there. To me, that's being an entrepreneur versus being self-employed. But see, you have to have that concept. You have to have, going back to what I say, you have to have that education, or at least that knowledge of how to run a business. And knowing how to run a business is what makes an entrepreneur.
Amazing. Yeah. That's a good example because like I've looked into project management before and I'm like it really a project really is kind of like a business just in a short time frame and budget because you're really
Mm-hmm.
getting whatever part of the project that you're working, you're just adding a new feature or something new. You're creating something new.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you said organized, I was like, yo, that's really the key to success
Mm-hmm.
in any business organization is literally organization. And sometimes they disguise it as systems. You can't be
Mm-hmm.
organized without a system, and I feel like you can't have a system without being organized. And then I guess
Mm-hmm.
diving into it a little bit deeper, with systems, you know who to hire, you know what to delegate, you know what your role is in the system, you know what you can do to automate. That's where the systems become important because when we all typically get jobs, we come into a system. They train us on their
Right. Yeah.
system. And their system is
Yeah.
successful because they figured out what works, which is why people buy into franchises because it's a system proven to work. And they don't want to have to
Mm-hmm.
go through the headache because if I own, let's say, a taco or a Mexican restaurant, I've said that because like I love tacos, I love Mexican food, right? And you own one, and we're across the street from each other. My business got clients out the door. Your business ain't got no people. We just gonna say yours suck, okay? so, you don't have as many people
Well,
coming
mine
into
got a suck.
right. You don't have as many people coming
My
into your
system
door.
ain't working.
right. So you come across the street from me and you like, yo, Danny, what are you doing that works? Because I gotta figure this out, right? I ain't gonna
Mm-hmm.
give you the secret so you can take my clients. Like that's how I'm thinking because you don't have
Yeah.
a system, and either that's why so many businesses fail within the first year. Most don't make it past
Yeah.
5 years is because they haven't taken the time to learn that system. They're not afraid to spend, or they're
Yeah.
too afraid to spend money.
They don't have that
All of that.
organization.
So that organization, that system is very important. So I'm glad you said that part. So you're balancing out. So the point is, you're the epitome of what this podcast is about. Is because it's okay to have a 9 to 5. You know, the saying is that millionaire next door. I feel like we make life a lot harder than what it needs to
Mm-hmm.
be because most of the stress that people deal with every day is financial stress. Yeah, we may have family and this and that, but a lot of our decisions that we make is based on finances. And sometimes we want, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not telling people that they got to lower their lifestyle and different things like that, but sometimes we want, like, put it like this. When you're driving in your car outside, you're in Atlanta. So Atlanta's very busy. If you ever
Mm-hmm.
pay attention, you're probably gonna see this later. And if anybody listens to it, they're probably gonna notice it afterwards. As you driving, look at the billboards, look at the signs. We're constantly being on social media. We're constantly being hit with ads, stuff that we never wanted, never thought to want. We're constantly being hit. We're constantly being marketed.
Mm-hmm.
So we realize, like, oh, I want that. Oh, I want that. And think about how many things outside of the minimalistic community, how many things have you purchased that you just let sit after a while? We're building these expensive lifestyles and then
Mm-hmm.
stressing about it because
It's
we
beyond
build
our
a
means.
lifestyle that don't really, not even about means. It's just we're building a lifestyle of stuff that we really didn't want. We were somehow
Yeah.
marketed to a product that we didn't want. That's why I tell people you gotta have your financial budget, which is your daily living. You gotta have your
Yeah.
budget on what revenue or what's your paycheck, your salary, what's coming in. Now you
Mm-hmm.
got to understand your expenses, what's going out.
Went
But
out.
you should still
But
have
you.
this dream budget. What things do you really want? Like if you live your perfect dream lifestyle, now you can want more and all of that. That's okay. But what bare minimum would you need to live your dream lifestyle? Most people don't even know what that number is.
But you know what? That is a lack of. That is
Mm-hmm.
a lack of organization. It goes right back to that. It's a lack of organization because with you saying that, and I have a spreadsheet
Mm-hmm.
of all of my bills. I have one of the things that has helped me the most is I was taught to pay myself.
Mm-hmm.
For every bill that you pay, you make sure that each paycheck that you make or each contract that you get, you pay yourself as well as pay for the things that you mentioned. You pay for your livelihood, which is things that you cannot live without: your rent, your lights, your water, your gas, or your car note, your insurance. But then you also put aside for, I want a nice night on the town. And I might see that billboard that is introducing me to something that I have no idea that I thought I ever need. But when we don't plan for things like that and we're impulsive and we buy things just because we see them, that's how we get into a space of, now we're creating a budget and we're unorganized. And that's how we become unsuccessful in trying to save, trying to plan for the next step in our lives, things like that. And we got to do much, much better in that organization
Mm-hmm.
and figuring out what those things are.
Nice. Okay. So I guess like my last question is, or more so like in conclusion, because like I said,
Mm-hmm,
you are working you're working a 9 to 5, right? And you're in a career
mm-hmm,
that you love, and you're in a career that is in demand of your skill set, right? But
mm-hmm.
then you
Yep.
also have your business that you're very passionate about, and you're finding time in between it. So that person that is watching this, that is interested in becoming an entrepreneur, maybe even getting into investing in real estate properties like you are, whatever the case may be, what
Mm-hmm.
advice, maybe even a lesson that you learned that you can give them so that after they listen to this episode, they're like, yo, that was some really good advice. Like, what's maybe one of the biggest lessons you've learned?
Um, it's a couple lessons I've learned.
Well,
One is
share them
follow
both.
your passion.
Okay.
I think that first and foremost, you got to follow your passion. If it's something that you're not passionate about and you think it's just, oh, I'm gonna get some money off of this, I'm gonna just do this, and I think I'm gonna come up, you're most likely not. Because when it comes to being an entrepreneur, you have to have that passion, you have to have that drive behind it. It's like, I want to see this through even on the worst day. Because, like I said, there's some days where it's great. It's great. I'm making more money than I can imagine. Then there's some days and some weeks where I'm not making any money. I'm searching for a client. So you still have to have that passion about what you're doing. And there's days where I'm losing money. So you have to have that passion. That's first and foremost. If you're thinking about going to any type of entrepreneurship, the second thing that you have to consider is your current finances because it takes money to make money. Um, People can tell you, oh, you can get this loan to do that. Da, 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 da. Yeah, but what if your credit isn't right? You got to fix your credit. That takes money to fix your credit. What if you want to invest in a piece of property? You got to have money to buy that piece of property to even think about building on that property. So you have to have a plan. You have to be organized to come up with that plan, and then you have to have that passion to follow it through. So that would be my advice, and I know that's very vague, and I hate when people get on their mentorship advice soapbox and try to tell you that, all you got to do is this, because it takes a lot. It depends on what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And once you first and foremost figure out what you're trying to do and what you're most passionate about, then a lot of things just takes the extra resources, the
Mm-hmm.
researching. And once
And
you
networking.
research it, you gotta and networking. You gotta connect with the right people. You know what I'm saying? You can't stay in your same circle. You can't continuously, go out every Friday and pop bottles and think that, this gonna be some thing. I don't think you're gonna meet your next business partner in the club. You know what I'm saying? You got to go to some of these networking events. And sometimes what the person on stage talking about ain't really what you even trying to listen to. You need to be passing your cards out to that crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and first and foremost, like I said, figure out what your passion truly is.
Mm-hmm.
And once you figure that out, it's gonna follow.
No, I think
But
that
you
advice
got
is
to
solid.
keep it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's solid. You were like, yeah, I don't know. No, that was real solid because I think all of that is important. And I guess the main thing even to add to that is that be okay with the time that it takes, but knowing that whatever time it takes, it's all about the journey, not the end goal. Some people stop living because they're trying to get to the end goal when it's really about that experience. That's why I love the book The
It's
Alchemist.
that
That's
journey.
the best lesson I got from that book. That book is
It's the
everything.
journey. It's the
Yeah.
journey. It's everything. That book is everything. It was
Mhm.
not trying to find the treasure. It was the journey that you get to experience in the process.
Mhm.
Because that is the true treasure. Is that, even when you think about a relationship, if you think about anything in this life, and I talked to you about this before we even started the podcast, is that life is like a cup, and either we sometimes feel like it's half full or we feel like it's half empty. And forever in this life, we're always trying to fill it up. What you don't understand is that that cup will never be fulfilled completely until we have finished this life's journey. And that's when it will be completely filled because we've experienced everything that we're supposed to experience on this journey. And so that's with our careers, our professions, our relationships, life, period. And so we just got to stop trying to get to that, million followers and this social media lifestyle and actually embrace the journey of the passion of where we're really trying to go. And once we figure that out, I think that, you actually get to experience what we're supposed to experience.
Amazing. Well, Epic, you know what? Thank you so much for just blessing me with your presence, your time. Like you said, we all got
Sure.
these time commitments, and I really appreciate you for giving me yours because that's one thing we can't get back. And, just blessing the community. And I hope so many people hear your message. And also, I wish you much success. Hey, we're networking, so I'm here as
Hey,
much as much help as that I can add to it. I'm down for it. But at the end of the day, everyone, again, this is your girl, Coach Danny Renee. This is the Millennial Network, where your network is your network, and we are. Y'all said that. See, your network is your net worth. That's what I was trying to say, but my accent took over. But anyways, we're out of here. Peace.